Hey guys, welcome. Today I'm going to be reviewing the third episode of the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, new season 3, and the girls are in Thailand. So we pick up right where we left at this dinner where Alexia was sharing a personal story of hers, and Leah said she was bored because she had already heard it. So everyone is kind of checking her because she was wrong. She even told Marysol that Marysol needs to chill because she has alcohol all the time. That's probably why her stomach hurts. But then, Marysol snaps back and says, well, she's not the one who's a recovering alcoholic because she can actually control her liquor. And then Gizelle says that it's not okay. That what does Leah want to talk about? And for the first time, Gizelle was actually being nice because she was defending Alexia and her story. But Leah keeps saying that the story is a snooze fest. She then tells Leah that when someone is sharing a personal story about their life, it's not okay to act like that. And it's true, it was very disrespectful. And even Porsha says, if you don't want to get to know people and hear them out, then why are you even here? But Candiace is sort of on Leah's side, and she says that she likes when someone speaks what's on their mind. But you know what? Sometimes you should not say what's on your mind all the time, especially if it's going to be hurting someone, because Alexia was a little bit hurt. I mean, can you imagine telling a story and someone saying that it's a boring, but it actually means a lot to you? But anyway, Candiace goes up and dresses up because she went and got some dancers who dance for them. They do a little show, and then she comes out and sings one of her songs. She was like, I think she was playing like a track. I think she was just lip singing. Obviously, it wasn't like a performance of any sort. It was just like, I don't know, her and her little microphone. But you guys, I have to admit that Porsha and Gizelle's duo is actually very entertaining. So then it's the next day, and Alexia is going to be taking it away because she's going to be planning a yacht party. Marysol feels really bad, like her stomach and just overall, and she wants to feel better. This is kind of reminding me of Vicky in the last girls trip. I also have to say that Heather is hilarious. She was the only one who went to the breakfast table, and she was like talking to herself, and it was just really funny. Gizelle is talking mess about Leah to Whitney because of everything that happened last night. And as soon as Leah walks in through the door, she sure zips it up. But they all get ready and head out. Candiace, by the way, is wearing a hat that is like actually bigger than her. On the ride, Porsha asks Marysol, I know that you like to observe people. What have you been observing? And Marysol says that she doesn't really like Leah's attitude. To Alexia, Gizelle, and Porsha, they agree, and they start to go in on her. Porsha says that Leah is one of those people that likes to get the attention, but then doesn't like to be called out. And when they are called out, they then start to play the victim. So she might as well just leave the trip. But the day is just beginning. They arrive at the yacht. People are still talking about Candiace's giant hat. Porsha even says that she looks like a thumb with a tent on top. That was funny. But Pepsi, he's the guy who's been planning everything off. He drops them off at the yacht, and then he says that he's leaving back to the house. And Porsha, I love her. She tells Leah, you want to leave with him so that you won't be so bored? And Leah gets mad, of course, because she feels like at this point they're just picking at her. When they sit down for lunch, Leah addresses Gizelle and Porsha and says that they're being shady to her. And Porsha clears her up, and Gizelle pops off too. She says, you have been saying that we are all boring, that we should be drinking for your entertainment as if we're your drunk monkeys. Her and Porsha are turned up. Leah doesn't really know what to say, so she very randomly throws Marysol under the bus because a few weeks before the trip they had been texting, and Marysol said that she wished she would drink. So before you know it, everyone is going at it, and they're all kind of like telling Leah that she's crazy, she's making no sense. And Candiace tells Leah out loud, of course, don't let them bully you. Leah gets up and leaves, and Candiace says that she hasn't been feeling good either. She says that she's been going through some social anxiety and starts to cry a little bit. And that's why she's connecting with Leah and doesn't like that she's being bullied. And Porsha gets up, and I thought she was going to say something nice to kind of make her feel better. But she says, well, you have so much social anxiety, but your event was the shadiest. And I was like, oh my. It becomes Porsha and Candiace going at it again really quickly. Porsha still feels a way about last night because of all the rumors about her stealing a man or whatnot. And they begin to scream at each other. Porsha says that the game made her feel uncomfortable, but Candiace says, well, that's your issue. You need to stop projecting on me. Porsha says that the word projection doesn't apply. And Candiace is so fired up as well. And she's saying, well, you can't tell me what I can or cannot apply. Thankfully, Porsha walked away because that could have ended badly given how heated the argument in the moment was. So they kind of all calm down. Then Alexia and Marysol take them like inside of the yacht, and they have a little game where they all have a Spanish phrase and they say it and then they tell them what it means. It was really funny. And then Gizelle chooses to ruin the moment of fun and starts to question Whitney and Heather because the night before they made up. But by bringing it back up, it kind of reopened the wound, and they start to go back and forth on who was responsible for their issues. And a lot of people tell Whitney, you have been speaking a lot of mess about Heather ever since you got here and about her book, Bad Mormon. So Heather tells Whitney, why the F would you say that? And they begin talking about the Mormons and if they are or aren't in the roster, if they left, or all of that mess. And Porsha asks Whitney, why would you say that? And Whitney says, well, I was just being shady. But Porsha says, wow, that's messed up. So everybody sort of is against Whitney again, kind of how they were against Leah, but now it's with Whitney. And they rally around Heather. So with there being no other option really, Whitney's last resort is to start to cry and says that she was in a moment of trauma. And in that moment of trauma, Heather wasn't there for her, but she was there for Jen. And Heather says, well, no, I've been there for Jen, but I've never lied for her. And she's never asked me to lie for her like you wanted me to do. And Whitney says, that's not true. You have lied about Jen. And you know what she talks about? Dun, dun, dun. The black eye. So everybody around is saying, what happened? What are you talking about, the black eye? And Heather says, well, I have some theories on how the black eye could have happened. One, she knocked herself on the cabinet while brushing her teeth. Or two, someone must have accidentally hit her with their elbow. And Whitney says that's not true about the scratches that she had, blah, blah, blah. So Porsha jumps in and says, so what, Whitney? So what? They were all wasted. They were all partying. Anything could have happened. You clearly want to gaslight people into thinking that Jen did it for a fact. So naturally, when you are in an argument and you have people defending you, that kind of eggs you on. So Heather was like going at it with Whitney pretty hard. And then it gets crazy, and Gizelle says that she's convinced that Jen Shah punched Heather, but she's covering for her. Gizelle then asks Whitney if she has a picture of the black eye. And Whitney, like a little obedient worker, because she's really codependent, is about to show the picture. And Heather is pissed off to the max. She's saying, you're a thirsty person. But then Marysol says, you know what? You're trying to mend your relationship. Just don't show it. Then they're outside. Some of the women are outside. Some of them are still inside. Outside, Candiace shares that Gizelle is one of the people that will actually lie on the show and make up things, just like she did about Chris by falsely accusing him of making her feel uncomfortable. So then Leah says, wait a minute. Gizelle acted as if by me saying that a story was boring, that was like the worst thing in the world to ever be said. So then Leah gets up and goes in. She rushes in and tells Gizelle, why did you act like what I said was so deplorable when you accused Chris of SA? Gizelle says that's a lie. Candiace walks in, and then Gizelle and her talk, and Gizelle says that she never actually used explicit language like SA, to which Candiace says, well, you didn't need to, because just by insinuating it, you pretty much said everything. But they kind of let it go. Then Alexia and Marysol give everyone maracas and they chill a little bit. But this was one of the craziest boat rides in the history of television. They leave and they are just drained. And honestly, I was drained of watching all that mess in one episode. Like I said, the episode clearly was a mess, but it also kind of showing that this is really becoming Gizelle and Porsha, that team, versus Candiace and Leah. Everybody else is just there, whatever. And of course, Whitney and Heather go at it, but it's not that deep. But yeah, this episode was really entertaining, really crazy. That's where the episode ended. I'm sure that the next episode will be better than this, because these women they're clocking in on this season 3. They're really giving it their all, and I'm really, really enjoying this season. This was the last episode to be released on this batch of episodes. Then next week we'll get the new one, and every Thursday we'll get the new one after that. But you guys, let me know what you thought in the comments. What I really found interesting about this episode were Porsha and Candiace going at it again. And like I said, those teams kind of building up slowly. But let me know in the comments all your thoughts. What did you think about this episode? Did you like it? Did you agree with me that it was crazy? Let me know, and I'll catch you guys next time. You have a great one. Bye.